Hello, hello. I am just setting up, so I'm hoping everything is going to look right. Please let me know if you can hear me. I'm trying to turn up my volume and set the angle for my video. You would think I'd have this down to a science by now, but I'm using a different computer. So, excuse me. In the past, I have used my laptop, and now I'm using a Surface. So, I'm just getting used to it. Please bear with me. Okay, excellent. I feel a little short, but I'm okay. I feel like it's been a while since we've had one of these webinars, but I don't know what's going on. Give me a second while I get my bearings all. I'm trying to open the chat bar. There we go. Aldine, we can't hear you yet. I'm going to promote you to panelist once I get, here we go. Aldine, I need to promote to panelist. There we go. Great. Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, because now everyone can
Awesome.
hear you, which is
Oh,
great.
perfect. Awesome. All right. I see we got some participants on
Logging
here.
in, yes. Let's give everyone a while. I don't know if you want
For
everyone
sure,
to
for sure, for sure.
see you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
I want to project. My background is not as nicely lit as I would like,
That's okay.
but
I had a lot of growing pains. Can I tell you what I had to do?
nice.
So when I started doing these webinars, I would just rely on the light in my office, which is behind me,
Okay.
which is great in the summertime because I have a great window in front of me, but in the wintertime, not so great because it gets
Mm-hmm.
dark early. I went to IKEA and I bought these cute little lamps, and they were probably about $10. And now they're right on my desk, and they just have great light.
Nice, nice. I may have to get some recommendations for some lamps then
Yes,
from
yes.
you after. No, perfect.
Ah,
Perfect. But otherwise, I think I'm going to focus more on what's on my screen and having a conversation,
perfect.
less on looking at me.
I will run your deck on my screen if it makes it easier. Or do you want?
Either
Actually, you
or,
can run the deck if you like, because
I can post it up. Like Zoom is my go-to, so I'm quite comfortable
great. So then at least they'll get.
with Zoom.
Hello, Ashleen. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
We're not just having a
Hi.
conversation. We are sorry.
No, no, no.
The thing I forgot to do was to go grab my Kleenex because I'm still a little stuffy. I'm still getting by round 2 of chemo, everyone, and I've been doing okay. I can't complain. I'm sure I can find something to complain about, but I won't because
No.
there are a lot more people who have it much worse than I do. And I am able to function, not at 100%, but still function. So I won't complain. I will not.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 rounds down, 4 to go.
Hey, Rihanna. Saying hello to everyone. Yay.
I know
Do you
it's
know how many people registered?
last I should have probably checked before I logged in. As of this morning, we had probably about 45 registered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what I normally do with
Nice.
this, just so everyone knows, we will run through the entire webinar and then I will post it on our YouTube channel by either later tonight or tomorrow. And then it will be there
Mm-hmm.
for everyone to rewatch. And I will send the link to all the registrants. So sometimes people register and they don't end up
Mm-hmm.
on the webinar. They'll still get the link and they'll still get any additional
Yeah,
information
that's great.
by Aldine.
Awesome. Well, I like to do very interactive sessions. So This webinar is going to be less content and more connection. And I think talking about a topic like work-life blend, there's a ton of data, there's a ton of resources online. I think, and what really differentiates me, I think, from other coaches and consultants is that I like to make this practical. Like at the end of the webinar, I don't want people going, oh, that was great to know. I want people going, oh my God, I got this one thing that I'm going to try tomorrow and see how it works. So that's the whole basis for the webinar tonight. So even in the replay, hopefully people will hop and try some stuff and then let me know how it goes when they do. And what I will do, I have a little activity sheet that will go with the activity that I put together. So I'll
Oh,
probably shoot that over to you PDF, and then you can kind of blast that out to everybody
that
so
sounds
they can
good.
have that to use.
That
Awesome.
sounds amazing.
All right, so we'll probably give them a couple more minutes. I planned for like 35 40 minutes. Actually, okay, perfect.
That's perfect. While we wait
Awesome.
on some other people to log on, I guess
Hmm.
for any of the newbies, I am Dwaynia, and I run Canadian Small Business Women. We try to do these webinars. Initially, my goal was once a month, and I've been trying to do them twice a month. I do have another one next week. I can't make promises for December because December is usually, everyone's busy doing their holiday shopping. So I
Hmm.
might have one, I might not. And we also try to host a few events throughout the year across Ontario. We are done with events for 2019. We will start back up again in 2020. We have a lot of things on the go. I don't know how I do it, but I'm sure Aldine will give you some really good tips as to how to balance it all. But I
I might
have
need to use
three
you as a
books,
guinea pig.
on the back burner. So I'm really pushing to try to write one myself and collaborate on two. I am trying to go through an editing process right now, which has been painful because I like to read through everything myself first to make sure that, the story feels good, that somebody will want to read
Mhm.
it because I have to be engaged. So there's
Mhm.
that. And then, trying to just get everything planned for next year and trying to make sure I start decorating early because I do love
Mhm.
Christmas. And now that I'm home, I'm sure I can like really start decorating. But in my head, I don't want to decorate until I can find eggnog because that's just wrong. And I'm going to start doing my holiday shopping. We don't do a lot of shopping in my family. I just buy gifts for the kids. And if I happen to see something that someone else needs, then we'll just pick it up. And yeah, try to plan for some downtime because that's also important in my life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Today I went outside for the first time in 3 days. Got my snow legs.
There you go.
A little giddy, but went outside just to soak up a little bit of fresh air for an hour, and I was excited. And then my birthday gift to myself came in the mail today, so I was very excited about that because I don't indulge much. I don't usually spend a whole lot on an item. I'd rather spend money on an experience. So this was big. It's that. I'm so
What is
excited.
it?
It's the Rihanna book.
Is it?
It's massive. It's
Nice.
probably about 40 pounds and it's
Oh
huge.
my gosh.
So I was so excited when the box came and I'm like lifting. I'm like, what is going on? What is this? And I have to flip through it. It's over 1,000 pictures, 500 pages. It is as
Wow.
the height of the book is the width of my desk. So yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
excited.
goodness.
That was my gift to myself, and I fought hard about it. I'm like, should I buy this? Should I buy this? Should I buy this? And then I said, you know what? You deserve it. So
That's right.
yeah.
Rihanna's saying it's the best thing ever. Got that right, Rihanna.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. So it's cool. I'm gonna flip through all those photos, and it's kind of a cool concept. I think that's why I wanted to get it too. It's a
Mhm.
biography in photos.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Leave it to Rihanna to be trendy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had thought of that. I mean, I don't know who wants to read my bio in photos, but it wouldn't be as cool as hers, but it would be cool still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really me, what I have going on right now. And I have my notepad and my pen, and I'm ready. because I need to take notes, because as
Sweet.
good as I think I am at balancing both lives, I can always learn something new. So
Yeah.
take it away, Aldine.
All right. Well, thank you for the invite, first of all. It was a pleasure. Um, just hang on a second for me.
So we're going to have Aldine share her screen so that she can share the presentation with everyone. And once she shares the screen, then everyone will be able to go through. I'm sorry, I sound like I'm a little bit clogged up here. I do have a little bit of a head cold. So everyone will be able to go through and see her screen and then be able to participate in the activities. And like she said, I will send everyone an email so that you can get, oh, Aldine, we're not hearing you. 1 second.
It's
There.
all good. I muted.
Okay.
I muted everything, but I forgot to put my phone on silent.
Oh,
So there was a dance party happening in the background.
it's okay.
So can everybody see my screen? Hopefully,
Yes,
yes.
we can.
Yes. Lovely. Perfect. Well, I was just in the middle of saying thank you, Dwania, for the invite. It is my pleasure to be here. And I love to talk about work-life blend because as entrepreneurs and business owners, there often is no life. There's just typically work. And people talk about balance, but let's be honest, 24 hours in the day, you probably work 20 of them. 4 hours isn't really a balance. So the more modern concept, or I guess the more realistic concept, is really figuring out how you can blend everything together so it doesn't feel like a work life or a personal life. It more feels like you just really living your life and having different aspects or elements to it. So as I mentioned before in the earlier part, this is going to be a little bit different in that I want it to be very interactive. So I know Dwayne is going to be on the comments, and I'm going to invite people to participate. I want to share a little bit about how we can effectively incorporate some work-life blend, but then I also want us to get more practical. So it's always good to talk about the theory behind things and talk about great examples of people doing a great work-life blend, but I find very few times we actually take the time to figure out, okay, how do I incorporate this into my life? Like the chaos that is my reality right now, how am I going to take this away and practically incorporate it? And I'm hoping that the third part of this presentation will help you do just that. And I will put that I'll flip over that PDF that I typically use over to Dwania, and you guys can take a stab at it and let me know what you think. And feel free to hit me up on social media as well. And let me know if any of these tips work for you or you've started to incorporate them. So just a walkthrough of what's going to happen today. The first piece I call spotting the chaos, and I'll explain a little bit more about why I call it chaos. Because oftentimes when you're starting up or even just in your day to day, it feels like it's chaos. It feels like there is no structure, or if there is structure, it's not structured enough. So we talk about spotting the chaos. Sometimes we live in it, we don't even realize that it is. Blending the chaos, so moving it from chaos now to something that has a little bit more meaning and perspective, and then talking about it in action. So what does that actually look like from a practical standpoint? And then finally incorporating it into your daily life. So at the end, I'm going to be asking some questions, and I hope at that point people will share a little bit about from the session what they hope to incorporate into tomorrow, perhaps, or next week, perhaps. All right. So, just a little bit about who I am. I'm an HR and operations transformation strategist. I've worked in HR and operations for about 10 years. And more recently, I've launched out my own career and business coaching practice, which is Aldine Simmons Thorpe Consulting. And I work predominantly with organizations and professionals to help them to adapt, compete, and thrive. And in the adapting piece, that's a lot of where that work-life blend happens, because work, I mean, the whole world is moving at a rapid pace, for everything from how you pay your bills to how you acquire customers to how you conduct your business. Everything is moving so fast, it can be very, very difficult for you to actually adapt to that, to actually compete. So the adapting piece, your work-life blend, is really what helps you to adapt to that chaos, or what becomes your reality, and then get to the stage where you can and in my coaching experience, I find a lot of the business professionals that I work with, they're really playing catch up to what's going on around them. So hopefully today we can walk away with some tips to really get into that adaptive state that we can move on to competing and then finally thriving in our businesses and in our everyday lives. And as a coach, I combine my passion for people. I service orientation and life experiences to help people navigate the different changes and challenges, to transform their lives. And the first piece I talk about is spotting the chaos. So I want to throw this question out, and yeah, I'm going to look for some responses. I guess Dwayne will help me. One of the common questions is, the stop, pause, continue. So, what's one thing in your business you wish you could be doing more of?
I can say for me is going out to network a little bit more.
Yeah. So we want to do more networking. Anybody else? What would you like to do more of in your business?
Don't be shy, all.
I know. Everybody's leaving me quiet here. So, I mean, for a lot of people, it's, I want to acquire more customers. I want to be on social media more. I want to get out there more. I want to, create better practices. I want to automate more of what I do. There's a lot of things we want to do more of. And then, oh, I got,
Calling someone, Sahara? Yes.
yeah, perfect. So, and then the other question I like to ask is, what do you wish you didn't have to do? So a lot of times when we talk to business owners, especially new entrepreneurs, there are a lot of parts of their business that they really don't want to have to do, and they wish they didn't have to do. For some people, it's finance. They don't want to have to do any accounting components of their business. For some people, they don't like social media. They don't want to have to do it, right? There's something that you wish you didn't have to do. Emails is a classic one, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes just talking to people, you're like, I wish I could just focus on doing working on client stuff and not having to talk to people too. And then there's some things that I guess we probably wish we could stop doing, like probably reading emails every minute. Like probably we wish we could really stop that. Or maybe taking calls before 9 o'clock in the morning. Maybe we wish we could stop doing that too. So when we think about spotting the chaos, it's really looking at some of the things that pause or interrupt the flow of activity that allows us to really enjoy and being present in the moment. So the other thing I want to bring our attention to is what's on your to-do list, right? So now we've identified what things we want to do more of. So those are the things we may or may not need to focus on, the things that we don't want to have to do, and the things that we want to stop doing. But what's on our to-do list every day? Right? A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they have a massive to-do list. Sometimes it's, 25 things long. On that to-do list, what percentage of that are you completing every day? Right? How much of that can you say, like for your to-do list today, what percentage of that can you say you have actually gotten to today? Like, is that 20%? Is it 50%? 90% of it? All of it, potentially? And if you haven't gotten to it, what are you doing with those carryover items? And how long are you carrying them over? So when you think about what your to-do list looks like and you think about what you want to stop, pause, and continue doing, do you have time to address all of those issues? And then also make breakfast and take your kids to school, and then also spend time with your significant others and network and grow your business and do all these other things that need to happen. So in spotting the chaos, we want to look at how are you actually spending your time? What does that look like? And based on where you're spending your time, is that adding value to your business or to your life? Or is it just something filling up your to-do list? If you consistently carry over more than 50% of those things on the to-do list, chances are they're not really essential items that you're working on. It probably is something that you should stop doing or delegate to someone else you shouldn't be doing. All right. Any questions so far on spotting the chaos? Can we think of some examples of things on our to-do list or things that we do right now in our day that we can go, you know what, I don't really think I should be doing that today? Or, should that even be on my to-do list? Are there any items we can think of that fall into that category?
I think a
I know
lot of
everybody's making me feel very lonely right now.
I was jotting down notes in my defense.
Awesome.
I think a lot of people
Awesome.
put, checking all their social media platforms on their to-do list when it
Mhm.
might not be something they have to do every day. You just have to probably
Exactly.
insights every week and then,
Mhm.
schedule accordingly. But a lot of people put
Mhm.
social media high on their list.
Yeah. And in my experience, even with working with clients, a lot of the chaos comes from not knowing what is important. And again, I can't tell you what is important, but as a business owner, you want to understand what is it that you need to be doing to have your business function. If you're a graphic designer and your bread and butter is designing graphics for clients, your social media presence is awesome. But to your point, do you need to be spending half an hour, 90 minutes on social media every day? Or should you be spending that time creating work for your clients and then at the end of that asking for a referral?
Mhm.
Right? What is more valuable? And really understanding the activities that you're doing in a day and why you're doing them is also important. So, things like, dropping your kids off to school, making breakfast, making time to exercise, making sure that you're actually eating at least one or two healthy meals a day. That often is not on the to do list, right? But there's so many other things that when you compare being healthy and alive to support your business versus, really adding value immediately to the business, you start to question, am I really doing the right things at the right time? So it's all about figuring out, are you juggling too many balls and so I found this cute little cartoon and I think it speaks so well to business owners. The good news is that we're able to solve the work-life balance problem for our analysts with more work, right? The truth of any business owner, especially if it's your side hustle, is that there's never a shortage of work, right? There's always work, work, and even more work. So when you think about a work-life blend, what is it that you're actually doing? Because if work is a lot and your life becomes work, like where does that blend happen? Is it blurred in or is it actually a blend? So there is that question of balance versus blend. In the initial conversation we were having on this call, a lot of people are accustomed to talking about, I want to have a work-life balance. But with 24 hours in the day, 7 days in the week, where is the balance? We work 5 days, we are home or, on a weekend for 2 days, right? Out of seven, there isn't really a balance. So what are you doing to create more of a blend in your life? How do you incorporate elements of personal development, elements of business development, elements of, social life, elements of family life in your work life? And I want to say we start, oh, I'm going the wrong direction. We start with the brilliant basics. Now, a lot of people go, oh, yeah, I know that. Like, I should be prioritizing, I should be delegating, I should be scheduling. But are you doing it? Right? Like, have you done it? And if you haven't done it, what's stopping you from doing it? Because the only way you can really have a work-life blend is if you are present moment and you understand what you need to prioritize, right? One of the common things I hear from business owners is that if I don't do it, it's never done right. Or I got to make sure it comes through my hands before I can sign it off and pass it. Or you're like, well, this is my business. I'm the only one in it, or I have one other person, and I need to see everything before it goes through the door. Now, that may be good practice, but is that the best use of your time? So we come back to questioning when you do something, are you really prioritizing it because it's advancing your business or it's improving your life? Or are you prioritizing it because someone told you this is what you were supposed to be doing at the time, right? A question?
Yeah, there's a question from Ashleen. How do you feel comfortable delegating when it's your first time in the leadership role? Huh.
That's an awesome question,
Yes,
Kathleen.
it is.
So one of the things I've worked with leaders on from an HR perspective and even with business owners is that you often won't feel comfortable delegating until you've had a trial period. And I never encourage business owners to delegate day one. What I encourage people to do is to empower their partners or employees to be able to do things. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use the graphic designer as an example again, to say that you've just acquired your first client, right? And you have a junior designer that probably freelancer or supporter that you leverage. You probably don't feel comfortable having that junior designer send out a quote or send out a sample without you. But one of the things you can do in that development process as you work on the client's work is to really set clear expectations for this person. So if you're very clear on what it is that you want to deliver to your client and you're able to communicate that to the person you're working with or the person that you're subletting this work to, having that communication and then having them send that back to you is a much more effective use of your time and energy than having them go back and forth with you over a concept that may or may not be yours. So delegating is often the hardest thing to do, but it can be done even on the first go. But I think the key to delegating is really to have very clear expectations, communicate those to the people that you're working with. And two, you also need to empower people because as a small business, whatever goes out the door, that has your name, your reputation, everything in it. So being able to help people learn how to deliver, not like you, but deliver to the standard that you want to put out there is what is important for delegating. So really empowering the people that you work with. So
To jump in
question?
too, because I've had it from two different perspectives where I was a leader with a team that I knew very well and a
Mm-hmm.
leader with a brand new team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, I would have to approach them differently. Now, with a team that I knew very well, you're going to delegate based on the strengths of your team. You have to take that
That's right.
really know your team. And I mean, their strengths might not be what they like to do. You have to differentiate between the things they like to do and what they're really strong at, and then
Mm-hmm.
delegate based on that. Now, when it
That's
comes
right.
to a new team, if you're pressed for time and you need things done, start delegating small items that
That's right.
will not ruin your reputation, but it will also give
Mm-hmm.
your team confidence. It will let them know that you're confident in them and their abilities, and they will try extra hard because they want to impress you. So you can start
Mm-hmm.
rolling out just very small amounts of responsibility if it's your first time in a leadership role, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely try to empower your team, like Aldine says, because when you empower them and when they have an understanding of what your clients need from you, it makes it easier for them to deliver to you.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point, Dwayne. And I find that a lot of people reserve, like everybody gets to prioritize, they get the schedule, but there's always a reservation on the delegation piece, and understandably so. But I like that idea that you suggested, giving small pieces of work. And again, people innately want to do a good job. I don't think I've ever come across someone who goes, I want to sabotage this person, you know unless there's probably a history. But people genuinely want to do a good job, and so really empowering people. And I think communication is key, because when you are a small business or when you are working with a small team, and you're leading, especially if you've never led before, it can be very nerve-wracking to give something that you can do in 20 minutes to someone who may take 3 hours. But you have to remember that pain that you're having now is going to be gained later, because if you continue to lead that team or to work with that person, after a couple of goes, they will be able to execute, not like you, but to the standard you want. And I
Yeah.
just want to add that when you do give people stuff to do or when you delegate to them, give them feedback. Like, don't just delegate and just take it and be like, oh, this is awesome, or okay, thank you. But really spend the time to give them, very constructive feedback so that they can adjust for the next time you delegate stuff to them. And I
Yeah.
find that that's often a piece that is missing. You'll delegate something, and if it goes, wrong, you'll be like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And you never really spend the time to go back to that person to explain, why you felt the way you did. And that is a key learning for them, and also a key piece for you to be able to, share feedback with that person and really help them develop. And if they are an employee of yours or a partner of yours, it really helps strengthens the relationship, because at that point they recognize that both of you are vested, right? So for brilliant basics, in order to achieve that
Actually,
work-life
I think there's
blend,
another
oh,
question.
there's another question.
Yes.
Please.
Rita wants to know, how would a full-time online student find some time for social interaction? She works full-time, school full-time, 0 hours left at the end of the day for friends and family. Other than sacrificing sleeping, she doesn't know what to do. I can help you with that too, girl.
All right, Dwayne, strike. Strike,
I'm a
Dwayne.
social butterfly because nothing, I am all about work hard, play harder. Here's what I did for studies. I can't believe I'm really just letting out my secret like this and being recorded. I would always lead a study group. I am not a believer in sitting there and reading that textbook cover to cover. I still have textbooks that you can hear the crack in, and I finished school years and years ago. Always do a study group, lead the study group so that you can delegate and practice those leadership skills.
Oh, for sure.
So if you have 10 chapters to read, ensure that you have 20 people in your study group and you are assigning a chapter, the same chapter, to 2 people. They do not know this.
Mm-hmm.
You collect all the chapter information, you put it together, and you send it out to the group. Now, if one person falls short on their chapter, you already have a backup because you've already assigned it to 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
That now cuts down on your reading time. You can now go through the review, go through questions, do everything with the group, always lead the study group. That cuts down a lot. You
Mm-hmm.
also need to make sure that in your schedule, just like how you have your class schedule,
Mm-hmm.
you have a social schedule, even if it's half an hour for coffee or
Yeah.
half an hour to go sit outside on the bench and watch people go by. Schedule it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Mm-hmm.
schedule it, you stick to it. And then when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to, assignments and exams, reward yourself after.
For sure.
You
For
want
sure.
just that little time, even if it's going out for dinner. You finished exams or you finished one exam, I would reward myself after each one. I don't care. You finish one
That's right.
exam, I am going out to dinner with myself just to have a moment, and I'm not thinking about anything. Like, I'm literally wiping away everything from that exam and putting it in a corner. I don't want to see it, and I'm not starting anything for the next exam until I'm finished treating myself.
That's right. That's right. And the one thing I really do like the leading the study group idea for sure, Dwayne. Yeah. The other piece is get involved at school. Like, I mean, there are clubs related to your programs, or even social groups, Facebook groups, probably. I mean, I can't think of a subject that doesn't have a Facebook group, like, let's be honest. A LinkedIn group. I mean, it depends on your aim. So if you've got a side hustle plus full-time school plus full-time everything plus family, we're talking about work-life blend. How can you incorporate a couple of those into each other? Right? So if you're studying, let's say, psychology, and there is a psychology meetup happening, perhaps there's an opportunity to blend there and go in and meet with someone who is probably in that field, who may want to join your study group, or who may be able to mentor you as you go through your studies. So really, I think it's getting a little bit more creative when you talk about blending. And I understand, especially if you have a side hustle, a full-time job, a family, all these other things that happen concurrently, it's very important to think of creative ways that you can incorporate some social, some personal, some work, some school, trying to blend it all in. Because gone are the days when you can say, well, this is my work time, this is my study time, this is my sleep time. Schedules are so important. I tell Dwayne all the time, I live by my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it's not happening, right? And very similar to blending, and we're going to touch this in as we go deeper down, is that you want to make sure that each day you touch on something that involves the things that are important to you. So if you think you should be a little bit more social, or you want to become a little bit more social, you want to connect with more people in your community, in your network, in your area of study or expertise or interest, you've got to prioritize that. You've got to say, I need to have one activity every day that keeps me in touch with what's going on outside of my school, outside of this, or I'm going to schedule a call every day with one member of my family. So Monday I talk to my mom, Tuesday I talk to my cousin who I haven't heard from in years, Wednesday I talk to my grandma, but again, prioritizing it, right? And that's why we call this the brilliant basics, because it really isn't a lot of rocket science to achieve this work-life blend. It's really going back to basics and saying, today, what's important? And I know I'm jumping ahead into my other slides, but it's really looking and saying, okay, what am I trying to achieve? And what is important in this moment to achieve it? And once you've prioritized it, schedule it. And I mean, from a business aspect, maybe prioritizing it is delegating it, right? I like to tell my my clients that not everything you can do, you should do, right? There's some things that you definitely need to hand off to a professional, like your HR stuff. Don't hire people because you're good at it. That might not be the best thing or the best use of your time.
Mhm.
Don't try to schedule all your social media on Buffer or on Hootsuite or whatever you use. That might not be the best use of your time. So really the work-life blend, maybe instead of scheduling social media posts, you could be playing with your kids or cooking a nice dinner, and then you pay, you've delegated that to Fiverr or, one of the lovely women a part of the social small business women's group, or another group that you are associated with who's very good at social media, paying that $100 to have an hour with your family or 2 hours with your family is probably a better use of your time than trying to figure that out over 4 hours, right?
Agree with you.
So really balancing the prioritizing, when do I prioritize, when do I schedule, and what do I delegate, are really important questions as a business owner and as a person you need to constantly ask yourself every day. And I see we're lighting up on the chat, so comments, questions.
No, Rihanna was saying that she had a psychology class this semester and she said great feedback. So I was telling her she can get it done because I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
have a full-time job, I manage a lab, I run a business, and I had the nerve to start taking project management courses. So if I can do it
Right?
after this, Rihanna, you got this.
Oh, of course. Come on. It can be done. And the good thing is that you have support, right? Always reach out for support. It's very important that you have that supportive community around you. So if you find like you're struggling with your time management or you're struggling with blending work and life and school and everything, find someone who's doing it really well or someone you admire doing it really well, like Dwaynia, or myself. Reach out and say, hey, is it okay if I touch base with you, once or twice a week and just say, how are you doing this? Like, I got 50 things I got to get done today. Like, what do you think about how I prioritize this?
Mhm.
Leverage those resources that you have around you. Again, delegate. If this is not your strong suit, delegate, reach out, ask questions about that. And then I want to talk about getting it right into action. So I like to say that I'm about 10% meeting and talking, 90% action, right? So more time should be spent doing the activity than talking about the activity. So I'm not very good at marketing, so I delegate that. So my version of that was coming up with a blender. So it really is like a blender strategy, coming up with work-life blend. Disclaimer, I'm not a marketer, so please don't beat me up on the name. And what I've used and had really great success with, I use it myself and my clients have also given me great feedback on that, is what I call the blender strategy. And it really is 3 actions, 3 activities, and then there's a review, reflect, realign. And you might go, oh my goodness, another strategy, something else that I got to do. But guess what? Give it a try. If it doesn't work, let me know. But the amount of people that have come back and say, oh my goodness, has been amazing. So I urge you to try it. Let me know. So it's 3 actions, 3 activities, and then the review, reflect, and realign, what that looks like. So what this is in action is 3 things you'll focus on. Now, a lot of people think I got to have 10 things on my to-do list, or, I got to carry over these extensive things. I say, no, stop, cut that out. What are 3 things that you really need to accomplish today? When you think about what the day is that you're walking into, when you get up in the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time it is that you get up, like me, that plans the day, from the day before, what are the 3 things that you're going to focus on tomorrow? A lot of people talk about multitasking. It's a myth. your brain really can only function on one thing at a time. No matter how you tell yourself that you've got several things on the go, your brain is really in any one time focused on only one thing. It's never split. So, what are the three things that you want to accomplish in the day? So whether it's studying, reading a chapter, connecting with, two new business owners, maybe, making a post in two Facebook, whatever it is that you decide on three things and only three things. And then three activities. So one thing that's for self-care, because a lot of times common practice for business owners is we don't take care of ourselves. We forget that we need sleep. We think that we're Superman and Superwoman, and we don't spend any time, taking care of ourselves. And then there's a development piece. Like, how many business owners actually listen to podcasts or find time to read books or find time to hone in on your craft or learn about what's happening in your market, what's changing, what your customers are saying, who's leading the charge in your industry? And then, of course, we can't forget our biggest supporters are families. Well, hopefully they're biggest supporters, because some of them can be pretty passionate in the other direction. But
Naysayers.
right. But we still love them. They're family. We can't divorce them, right? Activity can we incorporate? And for some people, it may be social, right? For other people, they're really great with the family piece, but they don't get social enough. So what's one activity that you can do that's social? It's so great these days that we have things like webinars, webcasts, LinkedIn lives, Facebook lives, an opportunity for you to get social and connect right in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your living room. So you don't always have to be going out, but what one activity are you going to do today that's going to, connect you with your family, connect you with social? And then it's so important for you to really review your three actions at the end of the day. Did you actually get them done? Why didn't you get them done? And this gives you accountability, right? A lot of times we put things on our to-do list and we never stop and say, why did I not get this thing done? Was it because I was hyper-focused on jumping from one task to the next, to the next, to the next, and not really completing any? Or was it that I had too many things on my to-do list? Did something else happen in the day that derailed the complete activity? But really review to understand what's going on. And then after that, you'll start to see patterns as you reflect. So in reflecting on what you've done, how you've done it, could I have done it better? Was there another opportunity that I could have taken advantage of? That really helps you to realign. And realigning means that when you plan your next three actions for the next day, you have a lot more clarity on how to either be more effective or to be more proactive with any activity that you're planning to do. So I think there's a question or a comment. No, we're good?
We're good.
Okay, so I want to ask now, I want to throw this out to my participants here. Tomorrow, okay, so we've kind of wrapped up today. Let's forget what's on your to-do list right now. And let's say if you're going to implement this tomorrow, what are the three things that you'd absolutely want to get done tomorrow? What are those three things? Only three. Like, I get it, there's a lot going on, life is a lot of things, but what three things do you absolutely want to tick off your to-do list tomorrow? Anybody want to suggest anything that they got on there?
I think Rihanna needs to schedule social activities for next week on her list.
Yes, I agree with that. I have a report that I absolutely need to get done tomorrow. So that's on my list. That's one of my three. Anybody else want to share what they want to put on one of their three things they want to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Thursday.
It is.
Hmm.
It's
What do
getting close to the end of the week. All right. So the other piece is, oh, I got comments here. Great.
have an important deal to figure out tomorrow?
Oh, okay. That's important. All right, perfect. Thanks for sharing that with us. And then three activities. So what self-care thing are you going to incorporate tomorrow? So even if it's getting, a little bit of extra whipped cream on your coffee or something that's going to make you go, ooh, this is good. For me, it's cooking with a glass of wine, right? Or coming home, putting your feet up, putting on a movie, and ordering food in because I'm just too tired to cook, right? What is that one self-care thing that you're going to do? Maybe it's you're going to get the kids to bed early so that you can, just sit down and do nothing, right? What's that self-care thing that you want to do tomorrow? And it's important that we incorporate self-care in our everyday activities because it really gives your brain an opportunity to slow down, shut down, or your body just rejuvenate, recuperate for the day. And it just infuses that feel good. Does anybody have?
Rihanna said she's going to have a morning coffee tomorrow before work with a bestie. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
You know how
Oh,
easy that
yeah. Get some whipped cream on. Yeah. All right. And then because you always want to be in the loop, what are you going to do for development? Right? What's the one thing that you do each day for development? I love podcasts personally. I have a decent commute to work each morning and coming back. So it's great for a 30-minute podcast or a 45-minute podcast, and it can be on any topic, or an audiobook. What are you going to do for your one activity for development?
See, that's something I never usually incorporate. So that's really good. I love podcasts, but I listen to podcasts for fun. I don't
Mm-hmm.
listen to any development podcasts because my time in
Mm-hmm.
the car is just that. It's my fun.
Yeah, there you go. That's your self-care.
I think I take self-care to the next level at this point.
You should. You
Uh, I need to find a development
definitely
group. That's really
should.
good.
And development doesn't necessarily have to be um, something that is, probably you're breaking up for me, Dwayne.
Sorry, I got you. Can you hear me? Oh my. My apologies, everyone. I'm back. I'm back. Whew. Hello? Can you all hear me?
You were saying, are you?
Yes. Okay, I'm back. Whew. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, I was saying I need to find something for development. I don't know what that's going to be.
Yeah. And for development, it doesn't necessarily have to be something academic. Like it could be, I'm curious about social media. How can I leverage it? So maybe it's listening to, a podcast on using social media or using, interesting strategies to acquire customers. Or it could be, how to be more effective at a networking event. So when you think development, think holistic. Like what would make me better at what I do? If I'm a coach and I want to be more in tune with my clients, or I want to ask more effective questions, maybe it's reading an article about asking probing questions or solution focused coaching. So when we think development, don't just think a book or a podcast, but sometimes even just going to the gym is development, right? Like stretching your physical limitations, stretching your mental limitations too. Going to a meditation class can be development, helping you to become more focused, is also development. So really thinking about ways that we can become better versions of ourselves. Because I don't know if you've been picking up this pattern as we've been talking, but in work-life blend, where we're going is really becoming a better whole self, right? So no longer are we talking about as an entrepreneur, how do we work and be more and more specific to achieve more, right? So narrowing down what we focus on as a to-do list helps us become more effective, which means there's a higher percentage that what we focus on will actually get done. Stretching your mind as a daily activity, it enhances your creativity, right? Taking time to take care of yourself ensures that at some point, you will continue to be able to function the way you need to do. And then when you think of one activity that you'll do with your family or social, that connection piece is so important as well. So, whether you're going to call your grandma, you know, once a week and just check on her, or, maybe like for me, I like doing play dates. Like I have one child and sometimes that can be a little lonely. So, it's hanging out, getting social with some girlfriends or some other family friends. And, she gets an opportunity to spend time with friends and kids her age, and I get a chance to connect socially. So, what activity can you do in each day? It could be a phone call, video call, text, instant message, invite over for dinner. What activity can you incorporate tomorrow to either, advance socially or just reconnect with family? Any suggestions?
Mm,
All right. Go ahead, Duania.
I mean, for us at least, our family has a WhatsApp chat group, so we're always chatting in that group, and it keeps us all together. Or
Nice.
yeah, like I think that's kind of cool. You can have like your social circles in
Mm-hmm.
groups, and you can, check in. And if it just means everyone gives an update of what their day's been like, or if it might be a chance for you
That's
to
right.
vent just for, a good 15 minutes of back and forth.
That's right. That's right. So, as we think of our three actions and our three activities, it's important that once we've thought of them and we've actually actioned them or maybe not actioned them, at the end of the day, so tomorrow night around this time, I want us to pause for 5 minutes and just review. What do we do? So, those three actions that we planned, what did we get done? Right? And if we didn't get it done, why didn't we? Was it something outside of our control? Did we have technical difficulties? Was it something that you needed another person to do, but the other person didn't come through? Rule a review, because what I find really interesting when people do this activity is that they start to realize how much delegating means to them, right? They get to understand the importance of scheduling, because sometimes we put actions on our to-do list that are not physically possible to be completed in a day or even in 2 days. And we force ourselves to carry over these actions for multiple days, for weeks, without spending the time to understand that there is a process or there are multiple people involved in this action being completed. So when we talk about reviewing and realigning, even though we've kind of skipped over reflected for a minute, we really understand how we can be more effective in that day. Instead of scheduling something that is not possible at the time, we start to look at how we can actually include things in our day that are practical and achievable. So when we talk about reflecting, once we've reflected on what happened in the day, this is our opportunity um, to really look at what could we have done differently, right? Sometimes we go through a day or a week and we say, you know what, if I'd done that a little bit better, or maybe if I'd reached out to Duane and asked her opinion, it would have gone a little bit smoother. Maybe if Rihanna had got on that call with me, we could have figured out what we could have done better. Being able to stop and pause and really reflect on what we can do better, I think is very important. And a lot of times we just keep doing, we have a lot of action sometimes and not enough time spent looking at how can we be more effective and more efficient on the next time. Bless you. And then the last piece is realign. So a lot of our actions, we will continue to do them or we'll plan all these activities, but then we're not learning from the lessons that we've gotten through doing these actions. So realigning really ensures that we not only understand what enabled the success of some of these actions, but we also incorporate that into the momentum that we're getting from doing these actions. So if they're going well, we're realigning so that we can continue to do them well. And if they're not going well, we have an opportunity to pause and reconnect and realign it so that for the next day and the day after that, we will be a lot more effective in doing what we do as professionals. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my suggestion and the strategy that I've been incorporating to help people blend a little bit more of work and life together, because it isn't separate as much as we like to think so. But if we can incorporate effective strategies to allow us to be more productive, right? Build momentum, a lot of positive vibes, and celebrate those wins, right? I encourage people, if you are able to get one action done, do a little celebratory dance or put on your favorite song and celebrate, right? It really helps to build momentum to hit those other goals, and making sure that you're taking care of yourself, learning something new, and connecting with the people around you is very important. And then, of course, making sure that you learn those lessons as you go through those different routines each day, so that you can continue to be more effective and continuously improve. So the one piece that I want to pause on as we wrap up my portion of today's webinar is an effective work-life blend looks different for everyone. A lot of times we look at success and we think of success in one dimension or based on one or two people that we encounter. But a work-life blend will look different, just as success will look different for people. It will look different for you, right? I can't think of any business owner who in 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, is as effective as, the next person that they are beside, or, is as successful as Tony Robbins with work-life balance or blend. So it really is important that we start, for one, take small steps, right? It's all about those 2 millimeter changes that we make every day. That's why we start off with 3 activities each day. That's 3 actions we want to complete and 3 things that we want to make a small change in every day in our lives. And as we get better at doing those things, we become more effective, right? And if it doesn't happen on the first go, on the second week, on the 10th week, don't give up, right? Momentum is what is needed to keep this going. And if you keep doing it, you build a habit. And habits are pillars for success. So as you incorporate these different components into your everyday life, um, understand that everyone will experience it slightly differently, but that doesn't mean that it's not effective, right? So I will take questions at this time.
I do have a comment. I just felt like I had a whole aha moment
Nice.
because a lot
Share.
of times I think what we do is we sit down with a book and we just start making lists.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at that list and we call it our to-do list when really it's not.
That's right.
It's just our list.
That's right.
Now, what you've taught us here is, go ahead, you can make a master list, call it your master list,
Mm-hmm.
but every day you're going to pick the 3 most important things
That's right.
to get done. And you're just going to tackle those things. And also
Mm-hmm.
help you really, it really does help with the prioritization because the things that were important to you before are no longer
Mm-hmm.
that important.
That's right. In an agile methodology, we call that the backlog,
Yes.
right? Your what you think is your to-do list is really a backlog,
Yeah.
because come Monday morning, come Thursday morning, not all those things are a priority, right? There are probably at least 3 things that you go, if I don't do these by the end of today, things are going to go south.
Yes.
And those are the things you want to focus on, right? And that's why I mentioned, we go back to the brilliant basics, because a lot of this is really just habits, working in, incorporating in effective habits that help us not only advance our work or our jobs or our businesses, but also our lives,
Mhm.
right? And that's why I emphasize too, it looks different for everybody, right? There's no magic formula, except to keep making progress, right? As long as we keep moving it forward, we will make progress.
Yeah. Wow. So now I'm going to start calling my list my master list,
That's right.
just so that I can stop thinking in terms of to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. And maybe not everything on that to-do list you should be doing.
Right.
Maybe there's some items on that needs to be delegated off.
And once I start prioritizing a little bit more,
That's right.
that will really help me determine what to delegate. I have been pretty good at it thus far, but
Mm-hmm.
I know I can always do better.
Yeah. Or maybe it just needs to be scheduled in another month or
Yeah.
another quarter, right?
Oh, masterless, because you're the master of your world.
That's right. I love that. I love that. I feel like there should be like a little, you know how they have those to-do list notepads? There should be like a master list notepad for sure. Oh, awesome. All
Wow,
right.
Aldine, I loved this.
I'm happy that you did.
I
It was my
feel,
pleasure.
I feel really good. Like I said, I know I'm great with time management and balance, but I definitely learned some things today.
Nice. Good
And
to know.
lately in my semi-retired lifestyle, because I'm home, I'm
Hmm.
feeling a lot more just blah. Today I woke up, I'm like, what am I doing today? Nothing? Okay. So I need
Yeah, yeah.
to not say that
And
every,
sometimes you need that.
yeah, but I'm enjoying it a little bit too much. I need balance.
All
And,
right. We need to blend some more things in there, right? We
yes,
probably need to incorporate some development stuff in there. And you
yes.
mentioned some networking, so maybe some networking components in there as well,
I don't know if
right?
I'm going to network in this cold weather, to be totally honest with you, but I need to start getting more clients because I know that was my focus for this time. So
Well,
I'm
there's always virtual coffees.
mhm.
And more recently, I was told about a virtual wine. So instead of grabbing coffee, you grab a glass of wine and you guys get together on on a Zoom call.
I like
So
it.
I mean, there's lots of creative ways to do it, man. And you know, with technology, you're enabled to connect with anybody, anywhere, anytime. So it really does help with the blending, you know, like when I tell people you don't have to get out of your house to go to, you know, a networking event with the types of people that you want to meet. You know, you have Facebook groups, you've got LinkedIn groups, you've got webcasts, Chromecast, like you've got so many different mediums and avenues that you can connect with people and leverage. So it really comes down to how creative do you want to be.
You are right.
Mhm.
I'm going to make that master list next week.
Yes, and set up some virtual coffees or some virtual cocktail dates.
Yeah, I'm
There
going
you
to,
go.
that is my to-do list. So I would like to thank you again for being on our webinar.
My pleasure.
Everyone for logging on. I am
Yes.
sure everyone's learned something great from this. Rihanna, I am going to look forward to hearing from you because I do want an update
Yes. Yes.
on
Please
how.
let me know as well.
And yes, have a wonderful evening. Aldine, just send me whatever information you'd like to send out to the group.
I will. I
I
will.
will.
And feel free to share the deck if anyone finds it valuable for sure.
Perfect. And I will send out a link to the YouTube video by tomorrow. It will probably auto upload sometime tonight. And yeah, this has been
Beautiful.
great. Have a great Wednesday. Everyone, please stay warm. I think
We
it's
will.
snowing again outside. I can't.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Yeah. Have a
And
great one, everybody.
good night, everyone.